Hey, what's up? How you doing? A few weeks ago, I made a video called Why Millennials Are Depressed, and that video was pretty different from anything else that I have ever put on my channel, but I really enjoy talking about this kind of stuff, so that's why I wanted to make a video today talking about why high school kind of sucks. But I really enjoy talking about these kind of things, so if you guys like hearing about them or you want more of this kind of content from me, definitely give this video a like to let me know so that I can make more of it for you. Now, me personally, I did not have a huge problem with high school. I thought that it was okay. I didn't absolutely hate it, but I know that so many people do, and I also think I know why. So let's get started. There are all sorts of different aspects as to why certain people can hate certain things about high school or hate it as a whole, and one of the big reasons that I think people might hate high school is because of standardized testing, and that's something that I talked about in my Why Millennials Are Depressed video, so I'm not going to get into it here. If you want to hear about it, you can go watch that video. Instead, I am going to focus on the more social aspects of high school instead of the academic aspects. So I'm going to be talking about mostly judgment and insecurity. Now first I have to establish the judgment stuff and what I'm talking about there. Everyone knows what judging is and everyone knows what judgment is, and I don't necessarily think judgment is a bad thing. I think being a judgy person is not great, but judgment in and of itself is not necessarily negative, and I think we always attach the word judgment to equal negative. And I don't think that that's true. You make judgments every single day about pretty much every single situation, and you don't even think about it, it just happens. And there can be good judgments and bad judgments. When you meet people, you judge whether or not you potentially want to be friends with them or not. And that's a good thing if you judge someone in a good way, like, oh, I really like her, she seems really sweet, I want to be friends with her. That's a positive judgment. And of course, there are negative judgments, but without negative judgments, you can't have positive judgments. It's sort of like the without darkness, there would be no light sort of situation. That's kind of why I don't think that judgments are necessarily a bad thing, and why I don't think that we should be seeing them as a bad thing. But with high schoolers, a lot of that sort of just goes out the window, because judgment in teenagers and in high schoolers is not like constructive or positive judgments a lot of the times. I mean, you do have those natural positive judgments, but I mean the sort of outward judgments that they have in high school, they're not super constructive. Judgment in high school stems from insecurity and a lack of knowledge of the world and its diversity. Because everyone in high school is just in this big pot of self-doubt and insecurity. Because everyone in high school is about as self-assured as a potato. People in high school do not fully understand how different people are because all they know is their world and what they're living in, and as a high schooler, most of the time you're not going to really have a whole lot of worldly experience. You're just gonna know your town, your friends, your people, your high school, what's seen as normal to you. You know what you think is right, you know what you think is normal, and you judge everything based off of your understanding of the world, and as a high schooler, like I said, your understanding is not good. In this world, we sort of have different stereotypes and different molds for teenagers to fit in, and then the kids that don't necessarily fit into those molds get judged unfairly because they're not necessarily in one group, they're their own person that doesn't fit into our established stereotypes and molds. So they're usually seen in a more negative light because they're different, and you don't like differences when you're in high school. You like what you understand, and that's about it. There's like different social hierarchies in the world, but especially in high school. You've got, you know, your popular kids, you've got your band geeks, you've got your stoner people, you've got your super smart nerdy people, you got all sorts of different people and their little hierarchy pyramid, with of course the popular sitting right on top, but not everyone necessarily fits into one of those categories. And so, like we've established, everybody in high school is insecure, but I would wager to say that the popular kids in high school that you think are sitting pretty right up at the top are the most insecure out of everybody. In a lot of cases, you do not get popular in high school based off of you just being an extremely likable person. It's more to the fact that you wanted to be popular, so you do what it takes to get popular. I would also wager to say that if you're a type of person that really, really wants to be popular, you already have some insecurity there because you need the affirmation of being popular to feel like you have any sort of self-worth, but that's just sort of like the baseline insecurities. Once you get to being popular and you're at the top of that pyramid, people, of course, are going to judge you because you are the most seen people in the school, because the popular people are the ones that everyone looks to and everyone watches and everyone's like, oh, I know her, she's on the cheerleading squad, I know who she is. They're looked at and they're looked to at a different standard than everybody else. You might have a popular person walking down the hallway and they didn't hold a door for this one kid so that kid's like, oh yeah, I know her, she's on the cheerleading squad. I saw her in the hallway one time and she didn't hold the door for me, she's such a jerk. Whereas somebody else who didn't hold the door for them, like, they wouldn't even care or think about it because they didn't know who they were, because they weren't popular. You know what I'm saying? So they're looked at more. So they're judged more and more harshly, usually. So everyone is insecure already, so then the insecure people are judging the popular people more because that's who they see. So because the popular people are getting judged more, they get even more insecure than they already were. So because they're even more insecure, they start judging everyone else more harshly because they're being judged more harshly, so their insecurities are growing. So they push their insecurities on other people and start judging them and being mean to them. So it's just this complete circle of insecurity and judgment repeating itself and growing and being fed into one another, and it's just the circle of high school. And if you think my logic is faulty here, think back to a time anyone has ever insulted you to your face, behind your back, and you found out about it. Just think of when someone's insulted you. Initially, probably you would feel insulted and a little bit hurt, but then after you get past that initial hurt, your first instinct probably has been to insult the person back. Generally, that's how it works. So that's sort of the same thing with the insecurity thing. You get judged, you judge back. So basically, what high school is just a bunch of insecure people walking around trying to pretend like they're not insecure. So they put off this front that they're confident in themselves or not insecure or whatever, and that makes other people who are already insecure feel like they're alone in their insecurity because everyone's putting off this mask of confidence. So then they're even more insecure because they think they're alone and no one else is insecure. Everyone's just insecure and it feeds into itself. What I'm getting at here is if you are popular or you fit in or even just somewhat well liked in high school, you're gonna be insecure even as a popular kid, if not more so than other people. And if you don't fit in, you're not popular, you're not well liked, you're also still gonna be insecure because you're just a bunch of teenagers and teenagers are just insecure. And this is because teenagers are at a psychological disadvantage than adults. Your brain as a teenager hasn't fully developed enough to be able to think properly in the long term. Everything that happens to you, whether it's Billy not liking one of your Instagram pictures or Janet wearing the same dress as you to prom, every single thing that happens, no matter how minor, feels like a big deal. And it feels super important because it's happening to you at that moment and your brain hasn't fully developed the skills to be able to think, you know what, this isn't gonna matter in 3 months. I'm not even gonna be thinking about it in 3 months because you're thinking about it now. It's a big deal now, and your brain is like, now is what matters, not the future, now. Because of that, everything that happens to you feels way more detrimental than it is, so you already got that going against you, and that also helps with your nice insecurities. So those are my reasons for why socially I think high school can kinda suck. Again, there are probably a million other reasons out there as to why someone might hate high school and think it sucks. Academic, social, whatever. There are a lot of different factors that play into things, but I just feel like the insecurity and judgment side of things is one of the big ones that I feel like is a pretty universal theme. But at the end of the day, if you are in high school and struggling with insecurities, it will get better, I promise. Try not to think of everything as being detrimental. Try to think of things as, will this matter in 3, 4, 5 months? If the answer is no, just calm down. It's gonna be okay. And everyone is insecure, so don't feel like you're alone in that. Believe me, you are not. So that's all I got for you today. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you do like these types of videos, like I said in the beginning, please tell me in the comments or just give this video a thumbs up, either way, so I know to keep making these types of videos for you guys, because like I said, I enjoy talking about this kind of stuff. I think it's interesting and a lot of fun to talk about. So if you like it, give it a thumbs up, and I hope you have a great rest of your day. Bye guys.